We are live.
All right, then.
It's time for the Fantasy Football Guys. Dropping loads of fantasy football knowledge all up in your eardrums. Here they are. Lyle Conkeal and Kevin Moore. The Fantasy Football Guys.
Yeah, baby, we are the Fantasy Football Guys. Kevin. And it's a week 3 show here. It's not actually week 3.
It's not
our
week
third
any.
show.
It's actually preseason week 1.
That's true.
So it's pre-week 1. It's only 3 this year.
Right. Actually, there's 4 for the Steelers and the Cowboys.
Yeah, if you count the Hall of Fame game.
Well, I mean, those guys did, right?
I guess.
No Benny Snell in that game, from what I understand. I didn't see it, but
I watch highlights.
like zero Benny Snell.
Yeah.
I'm a little
I
concerned.
typically don't watch that game, even though it's the first game of the year, because it's always super lame.
It is. The teams have been languishing, in camp for a week, or actually they go to camp early, so they get 2 weeks. But
Right.
camp football's different now. Camp used to be, 3 days in the blazing sun.
The
and
injuries, man. You can't. And if every team's going to do it, you don't lose an advantage by,
right. Well, back in the day, guys didn't get hurt that much, or they played through those injuries
That's what
that
they
now
did.
they don't do.
Yeah, that's what they did.
So, I mean, obviously, you want players to be up.
That's what it is. It's
If you're paying them $10 million,
there's too much money on the line.
you want them to be active.
Yeah, I mean, it's what's up, Buzz? BuzzBBQ.com. Hey, Buzz in the chat.
He must get an alert when we go live. Just
I think he does because he's here.
A few people do. Dig the sauce. If you have opportunity to go to the website and get a couple of those sauces,
Very good.
dude. I just fry up some chicken or bake up some chicken. Just dip it. That's all
I did some ribs the other day.
Did you?
Dynamite.
Which sauce?
I went with the black cherry.
That's the one.
Yeah, man.
Buzz, I'm out of black cherry, bro.
Yeah.
Just
I went
saying.
with the black cherry.
I'm out of black
It was a
cherry.
big hit. Had a little pool party.
Yeah.
It was all girls. The wife had a bunch of friends over.
Sure.
And I made some ribs for them, and it was perfect.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Shall we get back to the matter at hand?
We can talk about ribs all day.
Yeah, you're right.
I
don't fool around about ribs.
I mean, I would like to talk about football, and I understand that everybody tuning in wants us to talk about football. But if you want to talk about ribs, bro, we can just talk about ribs.
Now, do you parboil them first, then slather them,
Absolutely,
then put them on?
100%.
You kind of have to.
I do that with chicken as well. I just want to make sure they're thoroughly cooked, and then I season.
See, what you've got going for you is you have that stick sous vide. You can get the big Tupperware thing, and you can sous vide those puppies.
Yeah, man.
If you can get them wrapped properly, that's the thing.
I don't think I've ever tried to sous vide them.
If you don't know what sous vide is yet, it's like a water oven. Google it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I like mine so much I got him one.
Yeah.
So, parboiling is the thing. Obviously, they have to be most of the way cooked before they hit the grill, or they're going to be raw inside,
Right.
and smoky outside. So you got to do that.
Yep.
I'm on some ribs now.
Yeah.
I go right down to smokes here after this show.
Yeah. Dude, Tenderbone's got a decent rib too. Tenderbone's. He makes a crazy cheesesteak. You ever had a cheesesteak
I
over
have
there?
not.
It is. First of all.
I've heard about it, but see, I'd like my heart to be continuing to beat.
Yeah.
From what I understand, it's a cardiac in a bun.
Here's the thing. It's not. It's a different sandwich than a Philly cheesesteak.
Yeah.
So it's not the same thing, right? So don't put that out of your mind. Don't go in there expecting Pats or something.
You're not going
to
to get whiz wit.
No, but as far as a steak sandwich is concerned, bro. First of all, you have to eat it with a fork.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
It's gigantic.
I see.
Yeah. So anyway.
Not unlike Smoke's pork sandwiches. You can't actually pick that up and eat it.
No, you can't. Anyway.
So enough about our culinary and gastronomic desires here.
You're talking about food.
Yeah. Ha Clinton Dix, who's actually a cousin of a guy I went to high school with.
Really?
Yeah. Signed with the San Francisco 49ers. He's reaching journeyman status at this point. I think this is his 3rd or 4th team, something like that.
Good for him.
Bad news for Allen Robinson and your Chicago Bears. We're going to be talking about these guys in a minute. Robinson's got a hammy, dude, listed as a scratch from practice today. Hammies tend to just kind of linger all season long. They can linger all season long. You remember Cowboy player by the name of Austin, Miles Austin.
Yeah.
Dude would tweak a hammy late camp and just have a hammy all season long.
Yep. He was good, too.
So we know what happened with Cam Akers in L.A., right? So everybody's thinking, hey, it's going to be Darrell Henderson, and it probably will be at least to start with. But apparently this Xavier Jones kid is just turning some heads.
Looks good. He's probably gonna get the
he's gonna get the secondary role, probably.
right, and we'll see how that goes. Long term.
Exactly. Let's see what else we got here. Mostly news now is just like this guy's turning heads at camp. Zach Moss, who I probably wouldn't be drafting anyway. Buffalo running back, no thanks. Didn't practice today as well. Both Carson Wentz and Quentin Nelson for the Colts look like they have a shot at being back for week 1.
I certainly am rooting for Carson.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm sure he'd like to have his all-world guard back.
Sure.
But apparently, I watched Frank Reich on the Pat McAfee show. You watch that show?
Sometimes, yes.
So Reich was on there, and he's saying, 5 to 12 weeks is a pretty hefty window. I'm paraphrasing here, obviously, but depending on how things went in the operation, kind of backs that off a little bit. Wentz apparently had an injury in high school on this bone in his foot, but the bone just kind of seated itself fine, and he was able to power through it through college and into the pros. But it came loose. This bone came loose wherever it was lodged, and they had to go in and take it out. So they actually just removed the bone.
Okay. Well, you got like 150 bones or something in your foot.
Apparently, you can afford to lose this one. Right. So
preferably, I'd keep every bone I have.
Well,
but, if it's up to me. I mean, if the doctor's like, you can keep it or you can not keep it, I'm probably going to keep the bone. But
if I'm trying to make week 1 as opposed to rehabbing the foot.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I still might keep my bone, I might be like, yo, can you just shift it back in there? Can we just...
Obviously not. See, both of these guys had the same issue, oddly, and they both opted for, a bonectomy, as it were.
Yeah, right.
So Carson, the doc went in, just clipped it out from one end, I guess. I guess it was loose in there. And he's, walking without a limp, et cetera, and back at practice today. So... looks good for him and Quentin Nelson back in
Fragilities, thanks for the follow, bro. Appreciate it.
Do appreciate that. Dude, Rashad Bateman, Ravens rookie wide receiver who was really lighting camp up. Now, yeah, it's only the first couple weeks, and speed will do that for a fella. But he had an issue and is considered week to week.
Yeah, he's got a groin
injury. Those also linger, so be careful about that. If you're planning on drafting him, I think he's probably like a mid-teens flyer, early teens flyer, unless he comes back strong and flashes in preseason games. We'll see. Drew Lock is going to start the first preseason game, even though I think that's going to be Teddy's team, dude.
I don't know. We'll see.
I would hope.
We'll see. I mean, Teddy played well enough last year that you'd think he's definitely a starting quarterback in the NFL. The thing that bothers me...
Maybe.
Okay, the thing that bothers me is if he can't beat out Drew Lock, if it's not clear, then just let the young guy take the team.
Sure.
Right?
I get that. Two different style quarterbacks. Drew Lock is more of a gunslinger, go downfield type of player, whereas Teddy's more of a, just move the ball, matriculate the ball down the field, boys. Right. And doesn't really necessarily want to go deep. That was Hank Stram.
Right? Yeah.
It was Super Bowl 4.
Yeah.
Just keep matriculating the ball down the field, boys. He's wearing a suit.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all used to wear suits back then.
I don't know if you're one of the younger NFL fans, if you can actually get a hold of Super Bowl 4, first time ever I think they had anybody mic'd up, and it was Hank Stram, coach of the Chiefs. And he was, I guess he was wearing a mic the whole time, and I don't know if you remember that he was mic'd up or not.
So,
but kind of a good coach, obviously.
You can actually get it. You can actually watch it. I actually saw this on YouTube. So I got a SI subscription when I was, I don't know, like 10, right? And every year it would re-up, and they'd send me a football phone or whatever it was. One year, I believe it was 1990, they sent me a VHS tape called Super Sunday, which had the entire history of the Super Bowl.
Oh, nice.
Right? That game, obviously, because they go through all of them, is featured in it, and you can watch it right now on YouTube. It's called Super Sunday.
How about
History of the Super Bowl.
And you get that whole game? Or...
I don't think it's a whole game, but you certainly see him walking around and talking because he was mic'd up and stuff. And,
sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
What
pretty,
was
it's pretty
it,
cool.
You know, he calls the play on the goal line, Y2 trap or something like that. Hey, did you see that, boys? I called it a Y2 trap.
Yeah.
It's like Gruden's something Y banana.
Right.
He loves. I don't know. Man, we're just all over the rails today.
Whatever. The news isn't really that relevant yet. I mean,
I know.
Who got hurt? What major person
We're
got
not
hurt?
going to see Aaron Rodgers. We are going to see Jordan Love.
Right.
Amari Cooper's off the pup.
Yeah.
He passed his test with his ankle.
Cool.
Let's see what else we got here. Jacob Eason's going to start in the Colts opening preseason game. Darren Waller's absent from practice. Nobody seems to know why.
Well,
I'm sure it's probably a family thing or something like that.
I don't know.
Hopefully it's nothing too earth-shattering. Justin Fields, who we're going to talk about in a little bit, has captivated camp, and that's a quote, with his natural arm strength and talent.
Well, I mean, so?
Yeah.
All right, here's
that's
the
kind of
thing.
why they drafted
You
him.
draft a guy in the first round, he better have arm talent.
Yeah, it's not that you don't want to have to coach a guy up to throw a 30-yard out.
Yeah, that kind of stuff doesn't impress me.
Yeah, dude's got to write something from camp. Hey, Justin Fields has a live arm. Who knew? This is pretty important though, and if you're Drew Seabass, dude, he was lighting Lyle's in my text machine up.
Oh yeah.
Quez Watkins.
Yeah. Keep an eye out.
Watch out for this dude. He's going to be gettable unless you're in a draft with Drew Seabass, and I'm in 3 of them or something like that. Quez could be available.
And he may very well be the Eagles' #1 receiver this year. He certainly looks like it in camp. Now,
Davonte Smith isn't.
I will say that
He's an up.
Smith will probably get it, because when he was up for the 2 practices or whatever it was, a week.
It was IVC was there.
I mean, Jalen Hurts threw at him 80% of the time. So
Wouldn't you?
yeah, I mean, he's great, but we'll see if he's great in the NFL. He was great in college, certainly.
Yeah. Also, Kenny Gainwell leading all Eagles running backs in receptions. Also,
All right. Well, this is
Michael Gallup, Cameron Brate, Jamar Chase, not showing as much separation per a beat writer.
okay. None of this really matters. First of all, we'll get a little bit. All right, everybody. All right, let's calm down. Okay, listen to me. First of all, I'm 11 days sober. If I seem a little bit on edge.
Well, was one of them why my beer cooler was
dude, I'm just getting way
unmolested.
getting way too fat, dude. It's just not working out for me. And I tried, I was like, oh, you know what? I'll just drink diet beers. It doesn't work. There's no such thing. I'll only drink low-calorie beer.
Dude, I have some slightly mighty in there.
Guess what? Yeah, me too.
But if you drink 10 of them.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I would drink 10. Listen, I start drinking at 5. I go to bed at 10.
Mm-hmm.
It's only 2 beers an hour. It's not like I'm pounding, right? It's not like I'm
Dude,
done a 6-pack.
If you're drinking 10 beers in a night,
I have.
I think you could call that pounding.
Nah, it's really not though. It's not like I'm going. It's like I'm bam, 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 bam. Right? I'm just drinking a beer, and then the beer's empty, and then I get another beer. It's not that weird.
Well,
Anyway, so if I seem a little bit on edge, but the other reason that I'm on edge, everybody,
yeah.
okay, is because it's almost football season,
Yeah.
but it's not.
Yeah, you watch preseason.
It's such a letdown.
It's like the rabbit they put in front of the dog races.
You know what it is,
You're
bro?
chasing that rabbit.
You know what it is, bro? It's the present your parents give you on Christmas Eve. You're so excited for Christmas, and they go, all right, you can open one. And they give you some crappy socks or something.
Yeah.
They give you one toy that's just like a small little car or something. It doesn't do anything. Because they want to save the good stuff for Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's like. You watch the game, and you're like, God damn it. That didn't satisfy me at all.
The great thing about it is NFL Network shows games from last year,
Yeah.
and I don't remember who won these individual
Right, so you're
games.
just watching it.
So, I mean, obviously it's a good game with a good finish or it wouldn't be on. They
Right.
wouldn't be re-showing it,
Right.
So
Yeah, I catch them every once in a while and watch them too.
you do that, you're like, okay, this is great because this is football that's meaningful, so everybody's trying hard.
Right.
I don't remember who won this game.
Right.
So, yeah, this is great.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Now,
So-
I watched the Eagles-Ravens game.
We know who won that.
I know the Eagles lost that, but I remember it was really close.
It was a good game.
And Wentz played great the second half. Of
He
course,
did.
it was early in the season.
Yeah.
Before the complete meltdown. But.
Yeah. So anyway, the point I'm trying to make is let's everybody calm down a little bit. We'll get some data this week on not a whole lot, but we'll see some real live action. And then by next week, we can go, hey, this guy caught 15 touchdown passes in the first quarter. That's kind of eye-opening. Maybe we should talk about him,
That's a lot.
Right.
Well, that's why you look at ADP now, and it's like they have rookies sprinkled in just because they have to put them in because they're going to be relevant.
We just don't know.
We just don't know when.
But we'll see. Some of those rookies are going to eat the ball, and maybe they'll be up against the 2, and they'll look amazing against the 2 defense, right? But some of them will be up against number 1s. And you have to pay attention to that because the entire number 1 defense is not going to be on the field at the same time. But if you see a rookie wide receiver line up and you go, and he makes a great catch or gets wide open or something, figure out who that corner was. Is that a starting NFL corner? Is that a veteran NFL corner?
Right. Or is it a rookie out there who might be doing something?
Because if it was a vet, maybe the kid's got something.
Maybe. Well, you have to assume these kids have something, or they wouldn't be number 1 drafted
at
high
the next
or
level.
2.
You know what I mean? At the next level.
And we're talking about Jamar Chase. I mean, he was the absolute man in college.
Yes.
In 2019.
Yes, in 2019. Yes.
Right. He sat out last year.
Right. I want to see what he can do. I want to see what Waddle can do. I want to see what Smith can do. And we'll get a little bit of that data, probably not on Smith, but we'll get a little bit of that data in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
And we can make educated decisions about, but rookies still scare me, and they should scare you.
Semi-educated decisions.
Right.
Well, that's why you look at the ADP and you see Trevor Lawrence, ahead of, Baker Mayfield. And
nonsense.
It's like, okay, well, would you actually play that dude over Baker?
Keeper league, dynasty league, sure.
Yes, you want to
Totally
get those
sense.
young guys early.
In a redraft? Do I really want the starting quarterback? Okay, forget Lawrence. Do I really want the starting quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars?
The answer to that
Is that
no.
who I'm going with here? No. Come on.
Yeah, regardless whether it's rookie or Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, I mean they just don't have much of a team, so yeah, I'm not too excited about him. Keeper league, sure. Go ahead and take it.
I'll be curious to see what happens in our dynasty league this year because there's players at a lot of positions. Kyle Pitts.
Yep.
Obviously the quarterbacks. We only have a couple of decent running backs that are.
But there will be some.
Sure.
Come out.
Travis Etienne. There's going to be.
No. I mean, there'll be one we haven't even heard of that'll end up doing something.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And
not until week 1. They're going to keep them under wraps.
Right.
Look at Philip Lindsay a few years ago.
Yep.
He was on the radar, but he wasn't like, how good is this guy?
Yeah, people drafted him in like the 10th round.
Yeah, or in a lot of leagues he went undrafted.
Did he go undrafted that year?
In a lot of leagues.
Maybe, yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at them Norts.
Yeah, all right. Which team we going with first?
Let's go with the Ravens.
Yeah, all right.
So last season they went 11-5, got the wild card. Mm-hmm. Steelers actually went 12-4 and won the division. Ravens lost to the Bills in the playoffs, so sorry about that. So Lamar Jackson, you don't really need a reason to figure out, that you want to draft him. The tough part is, do you want to draft him at the back end of the 4th? And the answer to that is usually no, unless you're in a super flex league.
With his running numbers, it's probably pretty close.
It is. If he lasts to the 5th,
I might take him.
I might grab him there because like last year, he had just over 3,000 yards passing, which ain't great. He had 26 touchdowns, but dude ran for 1,175 yards and 8 more TDs.
Correct.
All right. So with all that, he was still only the 4th highest fantasy quarterback.
Yes.
Averaged, I think, 22.8 points a game, which doesn't suck.
Right.
But it's like having a mid-level quarterback and a mid-level running back in one dude.
Right.
So
pretty good. He wasn't the guy he was the year before, but
Sure.
he was still really good.
Well, as you mature, you may not want to run the ball so much because those hits hurt.
He should though. He's so fast.
Yeah, well, he is. It's like telling Vic not to run.
Yeah.
The highest scoring game of the year last year was like 36.92
That's
in
a
week
lot.
14 against Cleveland. That's huge.
That's a lot.
But he had a 7.8 week against, I don't know, week 17. So
Yep.
that's also, they'd already gotten their playoff spot, so who cares? So, you're going to want Lamar Jackson. Just a matter of if somebody's going to reach for him before you. 5th round is pretty good for him. He probably won't last beyond that. And to be honest, he probably won't last up to the 5th. J.K. Dobbins, apparently the lead back this year. Okay.
Listen, I'm going to tell you right now.
Tell me now.
What's his ADP?
His ADP is second round.
Because he went D-Will. He went D-Will last year. He finished the last part of the season super strong. This is a guy who had 134 carries. Okay?
Wow, you know that for sure?
He had 800, yes, because his stats are right in front of me.
Fair enough.
He had 805 yards,
Uh-huh.
which means he averaged 6 per attempt. Okay?
I have 890 yards. Where are you getting 805?
805 rushing.
Okay.
Yep. He had another 120 receiving in 2020.
See, I got 890 and 165 receiving.
Okay, I'm looking at the stats. I don't know what to tell you. 15 games, 134 attempts, 805 yards, 6 per, 9 touchdowns, only 2 fumbles. But more importantly, okay, week 11, okay, he had 16.5 points. He had a touchdown. He also had a touchdown. Week 12, he didn't play. I guess he was hurt or something. He was out that game. Week 13, he had 71 yards and a touchdown. Week 14, he had 53 yards and a touchdown. Week 15, 64 yards and a touchdown. Week 16, 77 yards and a touchdown. Okay? Now, week 17, buck 60, 2 touchdowns. He finished the season extremely strong.
Yeah.
And for a rookie, that's what you want to see, right? He had a big first game and then really didn't do much until the last half of the season when he started to take. We know that this team likes to run the football. This is a guy that I'm looking at.
He had a big first week because he had 2 touchdowns. He didn't really have many yards, but still, those points count.
They count.
Yeah.
But this is the type of guy that I'm looking at. Right now, they have him ranked where I'm looking right now is the 15th running back going off the board.
Yeah,
Dude,
back end of the second.
I'm licking my lips over this, man. This is the type of running back that I look at.
Yeah.
A little bit underneath the radar on a run first team.
Right. And that's who you want for your RB2.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, if you get him in the early third round, you can almost take 2 receivers in front of him.
You can. And use him. Yeah, you probably could get away with that.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of
people. You have to get him. If somebody else drafts him, and you end up with
There's a couple guys that fall into that category. A couple we're going to talk about today.
Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to. I won't do that for every single player, but I wanted to point out because I was looking at him last year. I actually wrote him down. I had a little notebook, and I looked back through it today, and he was one of the names that was there. And I was like, I wonder why. And I looked up his stats, and I was like, oh, that's why.
Yeah. Well, like you said, it's a run-first team. They didn't really improve their receiving core that much this year.
No, I think they're okay. I mean, they have Sammy Watkins, who will play 6 solid games for them.
Yeah, he missed 6 last year, and he was relevant in maybe 4 or 5, 6 games that he played.
I think we like Hollywood. He can definitely get loose.
Yeah, he was only the wide receiver 48 after last year.
Yeah,
he averaged almost 10 yards per reception. Yeah. His ADP is early 9th. I think he's worth a flyer there.
Probably.
He's the number 1 receiver in town.
Mark Andrews is the number 1 receiver in town.
Fair enough. Wide receiver.
Fine.
Not receiving option.
Right, fine.
I think he's going to outplay his ADP of 9.9 back end of the 9th.
I think so too.
Sammy Watkins, I wouldn't go near. I don't care if he's 17th round. I'd rather get a kicker. Yeah. Frankly. Yeah. We talked about Rashad Bateman before. Rookie out of Minnesota. Ran a 4.43, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Looking good in camp. Now he's got that issue, but his ADP is back into the 13th. If you like going with high upside rookies, he's one of those guys. Miles Boykin is also in town. If you're really feeling like you have to, you mentioned Mark Andrews. He was the number 4 tight end in fantasy last year, and this is using half point PPR. Just because I don't want to use standard, I don't want to use full. Get right in the middle there.
Yep.
Half point PPR. Caught 770 yards worth of passes, 7 TDs.
For sure.
ADP is 5.6. I won't get him.
Yeah, I won't get him either. But he's definitely a great tight end. If he falls to the 6th round, I'll draft him in a heartbeat.
He won't.
He won't. But if he does,
exactly,
take him in a heartbeat.
So the Bengals.
Oh God,
it's a tough one, dude. I mean, Joe Burrow was pretty good last year. Better than expected, quite frankly.
So as a late round number 2 QB, I'm all over him. All over him.
Yes.
I wouldn't obviously draft him as number 1.
Dude's struggling a little bit. He says it's mental. Yeah, probably. I'm guessing some of it's physical. His ADP is like back end of the 8th. I'm not going to go for him.
Yeah, it's too high.
I'm not even going to get my starter there, let alone my second guy.
I might. It depends on who's on the board. 7th, 8th round is when I start looking at what quarterbacks are available. Don't necessarily draft one, but I start looking.
So Mixon. Mixon's a tough one.
I just don't know, man. I want him. I believe that he's good.
So in 6 games last year, 4 of them he was in double digits.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the 2 that he wasn't, he had 6.6 and 7.5. He had a 41-point game, dude.
Yeah, you got to stay on the field, though, bro.
He had a $151 and a couple touchdowns on the ground, 30 and a touchdown through the air.
Yeah.
When he's healthy,
he's amazing.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
Whether he can stay there or not.
Those injury concerns, though, they kill you, man. Injuries kill you. They ruin your team.
Yeah, if you're going to be one of those people who take Travis Kelce in the 1st round, or you're going to go for Devonte Adams or Reek Hill, and hey, you know what? If you're in a spot, if you're at number 9 and you can't get Chubb or Aaron Jones or one of those guys, by all means, grab one of those top flight receivers.
Yeah.
But you're going to be looking at guys like Joe Mixon for your number 1 running back.
Yeah.
That scares the hell out of me.
It scares me too. But again, if you gamble and win.
If you gamble and win.
There was a year I can remember you drafted a guy by the name of Priest Holmes coming off of a devastating injury.
Drafted him with the 12th pick.
Yep.
And never looked back. I think I had Marvin Harrison as well.
You did.
I picked Priest Holmes and Marvin Harrison coming around the hook.
Yeah.
And just
dominated
waltz,
the league.
just tangoed my ass into the finals.
Yeah. I mean, because he didn't get hurt again.
He didn't, and he was amazing.
Yes, he was.
Looking at these receivers, so you got obviously Jamar Chase, who is going to make rookie mistakes, but the connection between Burrow and Chase, they like Chase so much that they said, we don't need to protect Burrow. So it was right there for him. They took Chase anyway.
Yep.
I'm thinking maybe at some point during the season, Burrow's going to be like, man, I wonder what Penny's doing. I wonder where he is right now.
Might be, especially if Chase is not in true football shape. Sitting out a year, even if you work out, and I don't know anything about his program during COVID. I'm sure he kept himself in shape.
Right, but there's shape and there's football shape.
It's just not the same. So he's a bit behind the 8 ball, even for a rookie. Now, he's got amazing God-given talent, and also talent that he's worked for. So, I believe that he'll eventually become a relevant receiver in the league. Is he going to be a star? That's so difficult to determine.
He's got 2 things going against him. One is he plays for the Bengals.
Right.
And the second one, he plays for the Bengals.
Right. But a guy by the name of A.J. Green was pretty relevant there.
Yeah. They're notorious. But he also had a guy, by the name of Andy Dalton throwing to him.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's a good thing. Anyway, they're notoriously cheap. They're going through a thing right now with a player who they should pay, but they're like, well, we're frugal and conservative. So, they brought some free agents in this year, but they need to drag themselves. They could be relevant in that division.
They could be, but they're not.
They're not, and they're not going to be this year. So I'm not going to go near Mixon. I'm not going to go near Burrow. One guy I absolutely will go near is Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, I agree.
That dude's sitting there back into the 8th round.
Yeah.
So if you could guarantee you're going to get 840 yards and 4 touchdowns out of your 8th round, 9th round pick.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Who's you may throw into the flex spot, or if you have a league that plays 3 wide receivers every week, which I've been in those. Tyler Boyd always impresses, and he's always relevant, and he always gets you tough points every week.
Yeah, I like Higgins too.
I do too. But all this comes down to, can they protect the quarterback, and can Burrow get his mojo back that he was starting to get last year?
Yeah.
So there are some teams I just can't really go near. And I think the Bengals are one of them this year. Boyd, yes. And we said the same thing last year. It's not like we're going just, coming out with this. Boyd, absolutely. Higgins, probably. His ADP is early 7th. It might be a little early for me. But, Mixon, if I can get him in the 3rd, if I can see value there.
I'll tell you what, I might take a flyer on Pirine late, too, just because of Mixon's history.
Yeah, I mean, but Pirine is, I would almost rather have.
Late.
Okay. His ADP right now is non-existent.
Right.
Yeah, he's a waiver wire pickup.
Right. So you draft him instead of a kicker.
I do got to tell you that if you pick up Mixon, if you draft him, you damn well better get Pirine. Seriously. These tight ends here in Cincy, you got C.J. Uzomah, who's not a bad tight end. He was hurt last year. Sample, these guys are guys you're going to be able to get off the wire at some point. Okay. All right. So the Brownies. Yeah. Brownies went 11-5 last year.
They did.
Lost to KC in the playoffs, as you do when you're playing against the Chiefs.
They have a stacked lineup, dude.
Dude, they are. The defense is tremendous. The offensive line is arguably the best in football.
Their quarterback's good. I don't think he's a star just yet, but he's pretty good.
I think he's. A lot of people saw Manziel in him.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the case. I think he works his ass off. He may have fun and all like that, but dude, at 11, back end of 11th, I'm all over that.
Same.
If I find myself having Baker Mayfield as my QB1,
I'll allow it.
I'll be all right.
Yeah.
And you go, well, Baker Mayfield, geez, he's not that good. Well, here's what he did last year. Over 4,000 yards.
Nice.
30 touchdowns.
Nice.
What, like 8 or 9 picks?
Something like that.
Okay, doesn't really run the ball. I think he had a touchdown, a scrambling TD.
I'll take it. I'll take 4K and 31 touchdowns.
30, but
31. He had one running.
Oh, yeah. Total touchdowns, sure. Yep. I'll take that all day long.
Me too.
For an 11th round, 12th round, 11th round pick. Nikki Chubb is a clear first rounder.
It's not even close.
Don't even really think we have to go into it, but since this is a show, we might as well. Dude, at 1,200 yards, doesn't really contribute much in the receiving game. 223 yards, that touchdown there. I think he had like 22 catches, something like that. So obviously, if it's a passing down, they have this guy named Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, who's also pretty good.
Yeah, that they bring in. I've seen Chubb go as early as 6th. And I've seen in mock drafts and I've seen him go as late as 12.
I would love to see him at 12.
Yeah, I mean, I've been sitting there at 10 going, Nikki Chubb going to fall to me? Because here comes Travis Kelce's pick,
right?
Enrique Hill and Devonte, and I'm just like, all right, I'll do it.
Yeah, I'll allow it.
So he's mid first round as well. He should be. I think he finished as he missed 4 games last year. Dude had 1,200 yards. And he missed Indy, Pitt, Cincy, and Vegas right in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
And still had 1,200 yards and 12 touchdowns.
Yeah. All over it.
And missed 4 games. So, Kareem Hunt, if it wasn't for Nikki Chubb, Kareem Hunt would be middle of the first round, too.
Probably.
He almost had 1,000 yards on the ground, had 921, but did have over 300 yards receiving, so 1,240 total yards. And he threw 13 touchdowns in there?
I'll allow it, bro.
Yeah. So he's your second running back end of the 4th.
I would have no trouble drafting both of these guys.
And play them every week.
Yep.
Throw Hunt into the flex and should we play guys on the same team? Dude, play guys from the same backfield.
If they're good, yes.
Yeah, if you can have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, yes.
Let me tell you something.
If you can have Mike Evans and Antonio Brown, yes, you play them.
Let me tell you something. If I had Baker Mayfield as my quarterback, and I had Chubb and Kareem Hunt as my running backs, and I had Odell and Jarvis Landry as my wide receivers, and I had Austin Hooper as my tight end.
You want Njoku. You're an Njoku guy.
I mean, I'm just joking around with it. But I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I would play those guys. I'd play them every week.
Sure. I mean, they won 11 games last year.
Yeah.
They're probably going to be better this year.
I wonder what they would have with that. Well, Odell got hurt, but I wonder what that would have done, like fantasy score-wise, if you just played the Cleveland Browns all year.
I played in a league where a woman was a Texans fan, and she picked all Texans, and that was the year they were really good.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
They had, like, Matt Schaub, and they had...
okay. I thought you were saying last year. I was about to say,
No. That's another team I'm going to ghost this year.
Yeah.
So
Same.
looking at the receivers, Odell Beckham, his ADP is 6th. I'll take Odell in the 6th.
See, that I will do.
Absolutely.
When he was going in the second round, way too high.
Yeah.
6th round, I'm all over him.
Yeah, who knows what he's going to do this year and how he's going to come back. But you have to assume a guy that talented. Jarvis Landry. Dude caught 84 balls last year.
PPR monster.
Had almost 1,000 yards, 952. Caught 5 touchdowns, ran a touchdown in.
Yeah.
And his ADP, 9-7. Back end of the 9th.
Love it.
How can you not grab that guy as a flex?
In a non-PPR, I could see you. In a standard league, I could see you just bypassing him.
Yeah.
But in a PPR, I'm all over him.
Yeah. For that ADP, yes. In a standard, he's not going to do much for you because he's not going to get you those monster yards. People are talking big things about Donovan Peoples-Jones as well.
Yep.
Like to see him. I think he's going to do a lot better in the slot. And you can get him in the middle of the 14th, end of the 14th. So he's worth a flyer, I think. Rashad Higgins is one of those guys. He's still on the team, obviously. He's one of those guys that he's like a sneaky flex play in daily. Like you grab him as your third wide receiver,
right,
and he'll throw up a 90-yard touchdown, one touchdown game just out of nowhere. For a redraft league, unless you're absolutely desperate on a bye week, you don't need to go near that dude. Hooper and Njoku are basically persona non grata now as far as tight ends go. ADP out the window. You can probably get them, late or off the waiver wire if you want to. I think Austin Hooper still has some gas in the tank. For me, though, on this team, there's only so many footballs to go around, and they really don't use the tight end that much. And hey, my watch is telling me it's time to stand up, so I'll be back.
Dude, sit down.
All right, so wrapping up the Nort,
all right,
the AFC North. We have the Steelers, who won the division with a 12-4 record, lost to Cleveland in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Cleveland was rocking.
Oh, yeah.
After that frickin' game.
Oh, yeah.
For some reason, Ben Roethlisberger came back.
He's their quarterback.
Well, yeah, I know, but
I've heard that Haskins has looked great.
I've heard that too. No, we were teasing before about a quarterback who had similar numbers to this: 4,300 yards, 37 TDs, 14 picks.
Mm-hmm.
Those are Ben's numbers last year.
Yeah.
So I guess we have higher expectations for a guy like Ben.
We have higher expectations for the Steelers. We do.
Generally, yeah. I mean,
stat-wise.
Sure.
They won a lot of football games, but I'm just saying stat-wise.
So Baker's stats and Ben's stats were about the same.
Yeah.
The difference is you expect Baker to do this, but Ben's
coming back down. He's on the downslope.
He is,
but he's still a solid quarterback, man.
But for
QB2, I'd take
QB2 in the 14th.
Take him.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a guy I want to play every week, but you could if you had to, because he's got a team around him. They don't have Connors anymore. But they do have Najee Harris.
That is a guy that I'm very excited about.
Now, they got him out of Bama.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, they play pretty good football there in Bama.
Alabama?
The Crimson T-Day? Anyway, dude, not the fastest running back you've ever heard of. 4.55 speed.
That's plenty fast enough.
Well, yeah, I mean, but you got other dudes out there like Kareem Hunt who are running way faster. But the thing is, he's not one of those busted to the outside and take it to the house from the 10. He's more of a, get 8 yards in the cloud of dust type of player. Mm-hmm. Not to say you can't bust it outside and get good yards.
4.5 is really fast, dude.
We have to you and me.
No, it's really fast on an NFL field. Listen, all you need is a step on the linebackers. You're never going to outrun the corners.
Yeah, or the safeties.
Right. I mean, you're not. All you need is a step on the linebackers. If you get a step on them and you can run as fast as they do, and they all run about a 4.5, 4.6, you're fine. It's not like he runs a 5.4, or a Tom Brady like 7.4.
Clock it with the sundial. So, dude, this guy was all ACC and all America last year. So, yeah, Najee Harris is going to do very well in Pittsburgh. And I'm assuming they assume that as well. Like I said, Benny Snell was a no-show. We'll see if he plays tomorrow night. Remember last year when Anthony McFarland had some value?
I do.
Don't know about him this year. But if Snell's not on the team, maybe McFarland has some second back numbers.
Maybe.
And I think those are the things that are going to shake out the next couple weeks. So looking at the receiving core, you got Juju, you got Chase Claypool, you got Deontay Johnson, and James Washington is still on the team.
I like all of them, but
Yeah,
I would temper expectation with these. Obviously, Chase, blew up last year.
sure. He had a really good stretch of a few games.
He did.
But
Didn't he have a 4-touchdown game or something like that?
something like that. Deontay Johnson is actually the kid with the highest ADP on the team.
Yep.
At 6'4". Chase Claypool at the end of the 6th, which I'm in. And if you can get Juju Smith-Schuster in the 8th round, sure, why not?
He did, and it was against the Eagles. That's why I remembered that.
Bastard. You can take any or all of these guys, and I think play them as you wish and see returns. Now, of course, the question is, does Ben still have enough in the tank to properly service these guys? And I think that's a legitimate question. But I think he has enough to hurl the ball in their general direction and let them go get it.
Yes.
Your tight ends are Eric Ebron and Pat Freiermuth.
Yeah. I've been waiting for Ebron to be good for a long time. He's going to be adequate, and let's just leave it at that.
At best he will be.
He'll be adequate.
All right, so let's take a look at the
NFC North.
The NFC North. This would be interesting actually because you got the Bears, who finished 8-8 last year, didn't even sniff the playoffs. So you got 3 quarterbacks here. Justin Fields, who's the rookie, his ADP's early 13th round. Quarterback 2, okay. At some point, he's going to see the field, maybe sooner rather than later. Dalton is the named starter, whether he's earned it or not. Everybody's talking about Justin Fields. Nobody's really talking about how great Andy is. I think Andy's just the veteran, steady presence. That's what he's going to be. Nicky Foles still on the team.
Yep.
I don't know that he's going to stick there. They maybe trade him, cut him loose, whatever, because you don't need all 3 of these guys and their salaries. So it probably doesn't look good for Nicky Ballgame there. By the way, young James, boy producer, was telling me that in the spirit of BDN, there was I can't even remember what sport it is. I don't know if it was football or baseball, but another guy who his teammates outed as having massive junk. They call him Big Meat Pete.
Is that right?
Yeah, I don't know where that's from. I have no idea what team it is, but he was telling me that the other day. He was highly amused by that. We were talking before about a running back who you can get pretty late or pretty early in the second who can do great things for you. You were talking about J.K. Dobbins.
Yep.
So here you got David Montgomery.
Same scenario.
So after he was injured last year against Minnesota.
Yeah.
Had the bye week and came back against Green Bay.
Strong.
Had 130 yards, and he had a receiving touchdown, right? No ground touchdowns. After that, he had 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, and then no touchdown against Indianapolis at the end. He was, I think, a top 3 running back at the end of the last season. This is Montgomery, right? So he finished the season with just over 1,100 yards, had 8 touchdowns, 10 total, caught 438 yards worth of passes. So that's like 1,600 total yards, right?
Yep.
This guy's ADP is early 3rd.
Again, he finished strong, so I like to see that kind of stuff.
Right. So you can get your running back in the 1st round. You can get your number 1 receiver in the 2nd round, and then you can get the guy who finished like number 3 in the back end of the season last year as your running back too. I'm in.
Love it.
Got to do it.
Yep.
Now, obviously, there's issues with who's a quarterback going to be, et cetera. But you got Tariq Cohen there, who missed most of last season. He's not even getting drafted really at this point.
Right.
And Damian Williams, late of the Kansas City Chiefs, is on this squad. Now, his ADP is like back end of the 12th, so he's really non-consequential. Really, as far as running goes, if he can stay healthy, this is Montgomery's team on the ground.
You'd think.
You would think. Yeah. On paper, or in this case, computer. But for me, 3rd round,
I'll allow it.
I'll take it. We talked about Allen Robinson's hammy, but, dude, even though he had a questionable lineup of quarterbacks last year, dude finished with over 1,300 yards and 6 touchdowns.
He did.
And that's pretty damn impressive. I feel bad for him because he left Jacksonville where he had Blockade Bortles throwing him the damn ball.
He was good there.
And he was really good there. I remember, I don't know if it was Hard Knocks or whatever, but, he's going for an out, and Blake just 10 yards over his head. He's like, can't you even get it near me, dude? I mean,
is that what he said?
Yeah, it was like, what do you... So, and then he goes to Chicago, and
he's still good.
He's still good.
But again, not the best receiving or quarterbacks.
Right. So, Andy Dalton is steady. We know that he was pretty good at Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Last year, once, when he came in for Dallas, he played pretty well, got hurt.
Yeah.
And when he came back, he was just okay. But there was a lot going on there with that team. So, if he can come in and feel as though this is his team coming into this season, I think he can be steady. But we all know that at some point Fields is going to take over.
Yeah, so it's not his
first
team.
round pick.
Yeah.
It's his team like the Dolphins were the Beards' team last year.
Right.
They were until they weren't.
Right.
And it's not up to you there, Andy, Red Rocket, when you're going to be benched.
If they win a bunch of football games, I'd be surprised if they bench them.
Dolphins bench the Beard, dude.
I know, that's crazy. But if Chicago, finishes the first half of the season, let's say, 6-2 or something like that, I think you stick with Andy Dalton. But if they only have 2 wins in that scenario, you flip the switch.
Yeah,
but it all depends on what he looks like in practice and stuff too, live drills and
sure.
Is he ready, quote unquote?
Talking about how you look in camp, Darnell Mooney apparently is lighting things up.
Yeah, I liked him a lot last year.
He was open a lot and just never got looked at.
Yeah,
I think he was like the second or third option, and Trubisky was just like, okay, that dude's got half a step, I'll hurl it. And Mooney, probably could have added 2 or 3 touchdowns to his totals, but you can get him early 12th.
Mm-hmm.
I'll allow it. Apparently, Demir Bird, late of the New England Patriots, that dude's in town. Jimmy Graham's still alive, apparently.
Cool.
He's not getting drafted at this point, but he's probably good for 3 or 4 red zone touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm not going to say tutties anymore, dude. I heard a new one.
Really?
Tutters.
Ugh.
It's even worse.
Yeah, it is.
Your Lions, who were 5-11 last year, kind of switched everything. I've got a new head coach. Swapped quarterbacks with the Rams. So Jared Goff, who was quarterback 17 last year in fantasy, with a really good football team around him, good receivers, an offensive-minded head coach, decent running game. Line was pretty good. He was QB 17. Now he's in Detroit.
Yeah, he's going to be QB 24 now.
Maybe.
I'm just not going anywhere near him.
Not going.
I wasn't interested in him when he was on a good football team.
I had very little interest in him. I always let somebody else make that call.
Yeah. He was probably an adequate, backup.
Well, that's just it. He was good enough to be on somebody's roster, but you only saw him during bye weeks.
Right.
Which, okay, and when you're QB 17, that's what you expect.
Yeah, you need those guys too.
Sure.
But he's not somebody we're going to look at. In fact, I'm going to go on record and say that nobody on this team is somebody that we're going to go after hardcore, except for maybe Hawkins.
I was going to say there's one guy on here that's draftable, and you can say maybe Amon Ross St. Brown at end of the 13th, maybe worth
Swift
a flyer.
Probably has a little value. He was okay towards the end of the season last year. I mean, he had 4 touchdowns in the last 4 games. He did also fumble twice.
He did
in those games. So, not a huge fan.
Word from camp, I put that in quotes, is that, he's looking good and he's going to get, the monster share of the carries this year.
They got Jamal Williams, too, though. He's a sneaky vet, man.
Yeah, he comes into a situation, basically the same situation he was in Green Bay, which is there's somebody who's better in front of him, but he's going to steal carries from that guy and make that guy worthless to us.
Yeah, I don't know that DeAndre Swift is better than Jamal Williams. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know that yet.
He's on the depth chart higher than he is. So
I'll give you that.
I don't know whether he's better or not, but he's the first down back anyway. So
Fair
after
enough.
that, we'll see. Looking at these receivers, there's not really a whole lot here, dude. They got Rashad Perryman, who is a journeyman, not bad. I mean, he
talented guy, but
played well in Tampa a couple years ago.
Sure.
You got Tyrell Williams. You remember that guy? He was on the Raiders.
Yep. They drafted St. Brown. So.
And St. Brown, he's getting drafted this year, I think, because cool name.
Yeah.
And he was good in college, and he's flashy. He's got the swag. So whether or not he'll actually be able to turn that into, I don't know, fantasy points, who's to say?
I just think this is going to be a really, really, really bad football team.
I think it is too. Again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again. So we look at the Vikes. If Kirk Cousins can, I don't know, wander somewhere near a vaccination, this team might be pretty good this year. And I'm not judging the dude. He has his reasons, I guess. But
now you can judge him.
Well,
here's the thing. I get being concerned about vaccines and being concerned about your health and stuff like that. But you play football for a living. So you're willing to risk the head trauma but not get a vaccine. I don't know. That seems kind of crazy. You're risking millions of dollars. I don't know. I might just roll the dice.
Here's the thing for me. I looked at when Jamie was going into college, and he had to actually put we have to submit, I think, his vaccination record. And dude, there's like 2 pages.
Oh, that's crazy.
Single line, just rubella, smallpox.
Right.
I mean, all of them. There's vaccinations up and down.
Right.
You're a parent. When
right.
you took your kid to the doctor when they were little.
Yeah, when they go to school, you have to provide them with records and stuff at school. Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know if it's political for a lot of these guys. I think some of it is. I don't know. We don't know the long-term side effects, and that's fair because we don't. But okay, 175 million people have gotten this vaccine.
Yep.
I've gotten 2 of them.
Me too.
Right? Nothing's wrong with me.
Yeah. Yeah, there definitely is a lot wrong with you, but maybe unrelated to the vaccine.
Nothing to do with the vaccination.
I mean, again, it's a personal decision, but at the same time, could cost him his job. And that's fair.
You got Kirk Cousins talking about, I'm not going to get it. It's a personal choice.
Yeah.
People just slam him like crazy. Lamar Jackson says, it's personal choice.
Yeah. Nothing.
Crickets.
Yeah. Well, Lamar Jackson is a much better football player than Kirk Cousins is. So,
are you saying that you're judged on your abilities as a player as opposed to?
Absolutely.
Well, let me tell you something.
If Kirk Cousins was running for 1,000 yards a year, people might shut up about it too.
Kirk Cousins had 4,265 yards, 35 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's not bad, but it's also not good somehow. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's not. You know what? He's good like Tony Romo is good.
Right.
He'd get if he's your fantasy quarterback,
he's probably solid. Yeah.
Just lighten it up. But he averages just about an interception a game, and it could not be at the worst time.
Right.
Or a worst time.
Right.
So he's that guy. Right? So his ADP is 13. I would take him.
Me too.
And consider playing him sporadically, periodically, based on matchups.
He's certainly got a great offense.
He does. Cook.
Fantastic.
An argument could be made that he's the best running back available. He gets injured.
Yes.
But so does McCaffrey. We know that Barkley does.
Yeah.
Right? So Cook, if you get him, you basically have pick number 1, C, or B.
Right.
Okay? Mm-hmm. Derrick Henry doesn't get hurt, though.
He doesn't.
And if you get Cook, you should get Alexander Madison. We generally don't like handcuffs, but Madison is worthy all on his own. You can get that guy in the 9th or 10th. At some point, Cook is going to get hurt. Whether you have Cook or not, Madison is worth a bench spot. Just on the off chance that Cook is going to be out for 3 or 4 weeks, Madison becomes valuable at that point. And then once Cook comes back, you can pretty much just jettison him. Or you can have him as trade bait for the Cook owner, et cetera, et cetera. So he's worth grabbing for a while. Justin Jefferson, his ADP is back into the 2nd, dude, which might be a little early for me. But he had a heck of a rookie year. Could have had that on the Eagles team, but he had it for the Vikings instead. Hopefully Jalen Reagor was worth it, Howie, you bastard.
Yeah.
Anyway, dude had 88 catches, 1,400 yards, 7 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So Justin Jefferson's all right. He can play football.
Yeah, he's pretty good. I would say he's pretty good.
I don't know that he's worth a 2nd-round pick to me.
That's a little bit high, but I mean, I think he's going to be fantastic.
He will.
You know.
I'd much rather see him at Thielen's ADP, which is 4.8.
Which I also love.
Like that, dude. And see, that to me, back into the 4th, early 5th, I think is where both of those guys should be.
Right.
I don't see Jefferson as the number 1 receiver. I still think he's the number 2 there. I think Thielen's still the 1.
We'll see.
Yeah, I mean,
he's younger.
We're sitting in a basement in Delaware in August talking. So,
right.
We've seen what Thielen can do consistently.
True.
We've seen 1 year Justin Jefferson.
It was really good, though.
It was real good. 1,400 yards. Ain't nothing to sneeze at. Irv Smith Jr. is at an ADP that I will take him.
Yeah, it's tight
Middle
end.
of the 13th.
Right.
I'm all over it.
Tight end, whatever.
Yeah, it is a tight end. You don't like tight ends much, do you?
No. I mean, I do. It's not that I don't like them. I just don't want to spend a lot of draft capital on them.
Yeah, I get that.
I think that's crazy.
Dude, I would love to have Kelsey on my team.
Me too.
Not going to ever get him. I never had Gronk.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not true. I think I had Gronk last year. I got him for a ninth or something like that.
Yeah.
So last team in this division here, and it's the Packers, and there's quite a bit to like on this team.
We talked about the Bears, the Lions, and the Vikings. Oh, okay. Packers.
Here we are at the end.
Yeah.
So the Packers won the division last year, 3-13, lost to Tampa in the NFC Championship, lost that ship for the second year in a row.
That's rough.
If only they drafted a receiver instead of Jordan Love.
They don't need a receiver. They got really good receivers.
They have a couple really good receivers. So
I mean, I think they're all pretty good.
So you got Aaron Jones.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He's
What's his ADP? Is
his middle of seventh pick. But in mocks, I've seen him go 4th, and I've seen him go 9th or 10th.
Right.
So he's one of those guys that kind of falls back depending on where Kelsey and Devontae and Reek go, just like Chubb, which is crazy. Because I would rather have Chubb or Jones than any of those guys.
Same.
Dude, A.J. Dillon is one of those guys. You got to be good when Jamal Williams gets cut loose for you.
From what we saw out of him last year, and again, it wasn't a whole lot, he looked pretty good. He had a monster game against Tennessee at the end of the season.
Yeah, he did.
We'll see.
Dude's got legs big as me. You seen this guy's
tree
legs?
Trunks, bro.
Yeah.
Tree trunks. 6 foot 250.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 100 pounds of that is thigh. Early 8th round for this guy, and I think that's a great pickup for him. He could be your RB2,
sure,
depending on what happens with Jones. If Jones
might
misses
end up
a game
being
or two,
that, yeah. We're not saying he will be. I can already hear the comments. Hey, I say you doing is RB2. No, we're saying if Aaron Jones gets hurt or whatever.
Yeah, but he's going to get Jamal Williams type carries, which
Sure.
means he's going to get 500 yards over the course of the season and 4 or 5 touchdowns maybe.
Right.
So he's going to get that, and could do more. So for the 8th round, he's flex worthy probably most weeks, or at least has to be considered there. Devonte Adams is your probably number 2 receiver. I think a lot of ADPs show Reek Hill in front of him.
He should be number 1.
But he should be number 1. And, storied career. Now, obviously, he had a pretty good season last year.
Yeah, it was all right.
133 catches.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
1,507 yards.
Yeah.
20 touchdowns.
So talk to me why he's not the number 1 receiver in the NFL.
I have no damn idea.
Because he clearly is.
So, well, you know what?
I think anybody who takes... Listen, I love Reek Hill. He's amazing. But if you take him ahead of Devonte Adams, it's insane. The only reason that I would consider doing that is if Aaron Rodgers didn't come back, which he did.
If it was Jordan Love,
yeah, then I could see.
Devontae's, maybe a second rounder at that point.
Right, but with Aaron Rodgers there, they have such great chemistry. And dude, they'll throw a pass to Devonte Adams at the 1.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll do a quick slant into the middle of the end zone.
So it doesn't even matter if they get down to the goal line. They still will throw to him. So, yeah, he's the top fantasy receiver. And if you're in the middle of the first round, you should probably draft him.
I know a lot of my draft spots are 10, 11, right?
He's not going to fall that far. If he does, though, I'd take him in a heartbeat.
In our main money league, I have the 8th pick.
Yeah.
I might end up with Devonte Adams.
I would take him there.
And Joe Mixon.
Yeah, I would take him there.
Yeah. And they also have Alan Lazard, who has shown...
MVS also has.
Yeah.
Right? But
Equiminius St. Brown.
Jinx.
Yeah. Amari Rodgers now off the pup. We'll see what he does. I think it's funny that there's 2 Aarons and 2 Rodgers, and they're kind of... Anyway. Randall Cobb back in town. His ADP is middle of the 14th round.
Maybe a flyer, but a bye week fill-in guy, something like that.
Now he may, if he gets back into that slot where he belongs, then he may show himself to outplay this ADP.
Certainly has a rapport.
Yeah,
So we'll see. And Tanyan, I think, is probably a decent role as a tight end.
He's very touchdown dependent.
But I like that out of my tight end.
Which is okay because he caught 12 of them last year.
Yeah, I'll take it.
So if you have a touchdown-dependent tight end and he catches 12, you know what that means? It means it'll all be all right.
Yeah. Well, we got questions.
We do have questions.
There's only a couple of them. This one's from last week, actually. We just missed it. So if you want to send us a question, you get into our Discord. We have a podcast questions thread.
I'll put one on Reddit too.
We'll put one up on Reddit.
By the way, we're gonna next week announce league. So starting not now, but we'll have Reddit threads up next week after the show to sign up for leagues, and then we'll choose the leagues after the week after next show.
We draw them out of a hat. All right. So Ren and Ammo says, who's also a Tarkov streamer, by the way. Shout out to Ren and Ammo. And he also just had a baby. So congratulations,
congrats, bro.
With Jalen Hurts basically being undrafted outside of 2 QB and dynasty leagues, what is Jalen Hurts' floor and ceiling? Nobody really knows what to expect with new coaching staff, new players, and a healthy offensive line, likely going into the season. Is he a sleeper quarterback? So it's a two-part question. What is his? Is he a sleeper quarterback? Of course. Yeah, because he's basically going undrafted.
Well, his ADP is not 0. It's higher than it should be. Really,
14 or 12, something like that. Okay, so essentially, a flyer pick. So yeah, at that point, sure, why not? What's his floor and his ceiling? His ceiling is probably top 15, right? But not top 10. So
I would be shocked if he was either of those things.
And his floor is basically benched.
His floor is benched because they have Joe Flacco there.
Let me tell you something about this Philadelphia Eagles football team, okay?
Here we go.
And it breaks my heart. They are going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL.
Jalen Hurts' ADP is middle of the 8th.
That's way too high.
Yes, it is.
Way too high.
Well, he gets those running yards, so.
It's way too high. I do not believe in this football team right now. I could be wrong, and I may change my mind after tomorrow, after seeing some action on the field. But from what I can ascertain right now, this is a football team that has a decent defense, right?
They added that corner, which I think helps.
It will help. They have a decent defense, but they have a new scheme. So what's that going to be like?
Sure.
They have a pretty good offensive line if they can stay healthy.
That's a huge capitalized quotations with a circle around it. If
it absolutely is. But they also have no receivers. They have essentially a rookie quarterback, and they have a rookie head coach.
Mm-hmm.
I'm out.
It's going to be tough.
I'm out.
And the issues with Hurts last year were his accuracy. And I've seen things from camp where he's got a guy flaring out of the backfield and he overthrows him by 5 yards.
Right.
It's like, those are the touch passes that are your bread and butter in today's NFL because everybody passes so much. Mm-hmm. You got to be able to hit those guys out of the backfield. You have to be able to hit those little short, touch passes.
Correct.
Which he just can't do very well yet. So he may never be able to do that. So we keep seeing things like talks heating up with Deshaun Watson. Who knows?
There's only one person. Well, I would draft Quez Watkins, and I would draft Davonte Smith for sure.
If I could get Rager for a 15th or a 16th, I might go for him too.
Maybe at the very, very back. Obviously, I like Miles Sanders. I would draft him.
Yeah.
But that's really it on this team. Maybe one of the tight ends, perhaps, but
Goddard maybe. But the thing is, and I read this and I agree with it, that it would have been better for Goddard if Ertz had left, obviously, because Ertz is a shite blocker, whereas Goddard's one of the best blocking tight ends in the game. So if you're going to have somebody staying in block and somebody going to the slot, it's not going to be Ertz staying in the block.
It's going to be Goddard.
It's going to be Goddard staying in the block. Right. So if Ertz can go and they can keep Richard Rodgers in the block and put Goddard in the slot, much better for people who are going to get
Apparently
him.
Richard Rodgers has looked really great in camp.
Dude, he's a grizzled veteran. He knows how to look good in camp.
Yeah, that's right.
It doesn't mean he's going to be a good player.
All right, Booty Short says, 12-team dynasty, 6-point passing TDs, and a half peeper. My team is middle of the pack competitiveness, 28 roster limit. I need to cut 4 by preseason, week 3. Salvon Ahmed, Keyshawn Vaughn, Damian Williams, Todd Gurley, Sterling Shepard, Byron Pringle, Josh Palmer, and Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Well, Gurley's not even on a team yet.
So that's probably one. I would probably cut Pringle as well.
Yep. Maybe Williams.
Maybe Williams.
And St. Brown just because he's on the friggin' Lions.
Yeah, that's probably my 4 too. But, I mean, you don't know about St. Brown. It's a dynasty league. Maybe you hold on to him and you kick, Salvon. Because I don't think he's got much of a starting future.
Yeah, I mean, they may play St. Brown just because he's.
Honestly, you can definitely kick Sterling Shepard. So, that's not a guy you're going to start every week in a 12-team league.
You don't know that,
and he's got almost no upside.
Yeah,
so I could kick him. I could kick Pringle, Gurley, obviously because he doesn't have a team, and probably also Damian Williams.
Yeah, I mean Gurley's at the point now, and it was a relatively quick fall.
Yeah.
That if he's not picked up by now,
there's something wrong.
He'll get picked up.
Sure.
Because somebody will get hurt, whatever. But he's going to be in there as just a guy. He's not going to be in there as Todd Gurley anymore.
Right.
Boy, the freaking cliff that running backs drop off of.
It's fast.
I feel for him.
Yeah, man, me too.
I mean, but, they made plenty of money.
Hopefully. Yeah.
And you can retire at 30,
good for
manage your portfolio and live a life on the beach.
Yeah, man.
Is that it for the questions?
That's it.
All right. Robbie said last week that I just about blew him out of the chair with his headphones with the show closer when it launched. Well, I backed it off a little bit. Hope you guys are enjoying the clips on Twitter. Robbie cuts clips out of our show as we record it and puts video clips up on Twitter. So if you don't subscribe to that yet, it's at TFFG Twitter.
There you go.
Go to our website. It's the Reddit site actually. It's reddit.com/r/TFFG. There you can find our Discord link. It's just an open invite. Pop in. We do things like play Among Us. Lyle's got a Escape from Tarkov thing going on in there.
Mm-hmm.
So this is we don't maybe not podcast all around the calendar, but we do something. We do play games. We do.
Yeah, I won't be there tomorrow night. I'll be at the Eagles game. So.
Yeah. We haven't seen you in a while.
I'm sorry. Do you know there's a different type of game that's like Among Us that's supposedly also really fun?
Yeah, what is it?
I can't remember the name of it right now, but people run around. There's one person that's trying to kill everybody. And
it sounds exactly like Among Us.
But it's a little bit more detailed and nuanced. It's kind of like it's got like a Clue vibe to it.
I would kind of like to see that game in a first-person perspective.
Oh yeah.
As opposed to a top-down perspective.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
All right.
Apparently, you and I are anomalies, being our age, still playing video games as voraciously as we do.
I play video games every day.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, I love them.
My 19-year-old son said none of my friends' parents play video games.
Well, they're missing out.
I'm like, that sucks for them.
Yeah, I love them. Dude, Tarkov is... I love that thing. I love that game, dude. It's the best video game ever created.
I thought you liked, what was the other one?
What?
Valheim? You like
Valheim's fantastic too, but its replayability kind of goes away.
Yeah.
But it's a great game.
Tarkov is new every time.
Game. Well, Tarkov is just, they just keep changing it and updating it, and every raid is different, and it's always horrible. Yeah.
It's always horrible.
Yeah. I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
If you like first-person shooters.
And you have the patience of Job, apparently.
It's a very deep game. There's a steep learning curve. But you can do it, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, he basically talked me out of it earlier tonight.
I mean, I'll Sherpa anybody who wants to play. I mean, I'll take you guys in, show you everything, teach you about the maps.
He's like, I would tell me about it. I'm like, maybe I'll get into it. He's like, yeah, I don't think you'd like it.
I don't, because you just die, and then you'd be like, oh, I'm dead.
Yeah, I mean, you had me play like Apex something.
Yeah, Legends, yeah.
Apex Legends. And I got in there, and I was just And I'm no noob to video games, shooters, and Call of Duty. I got in there. I just got my ass just whacked.
You got to keep playing it. So with Tarkov, the best players in the world, their ass gets waxed all the time because it's not about aim, right? It's about being sneaky and
patient,
deceptive, and like
I'm none of those things.
You got to be. If you want to, I mean, the way to win a gunfight in Tarkov is not to have a fair fight. It's to be the first to spot the enemy before they spot you.
Oh, so you're trying to shoot dudes in the back of the head?
Absolutely. My best kills in Tarkov are snipes. They didn't even know I was there.
All right, we've talked out of the music. All right, see you guys.
Gotcha.
All right, Twitches.